Yo, alright. Video 1. Peter, what have you been doing so far?
So we are trying to get into the world of whiskey. We actually are in the world of whiskey. We're just dabbing further into it. We are trying bourbon whiskeys. We're trying Scotch whiskeys. We're trying Irish whiskeys. So we're really just some average Joes tasting whiskeys and putting our toes into the water.
Yep, that sounds about right. So what started up this journey for me is I watched this show right here, which if I ever get popular, I'm gonna have to edit this out, but it's called Whiskey Vault. These guys, they're out of Austin, Texas, and they review whiskeys. It's pretty sick. Really makes you want to drink whiskeys. They even have an episode that they talk about the fact that their viewers have bought significantly more whiskeys because of their show. So it's been interesting. We've been drinking a couple whiskeys here, trying to mix up the taste because, as you know, different whiskeys have different flavors. You know, American whiskeys, whether they be American whiskey, bourbons, or ryes, have a different taste than your Irish whiskey, which is the one we have is Jameson now, and we have a couple Scotch whiskeys out here from the different regions. I think we have an alot, and we have one from Speyside. I don't think I have any others out here, but that's what we're doing right now.
What are the names of those that you're trying?
So, top sipper, bourbon, 4 Roses single barrel. It's pretty good. Retails for around $50. Proof is around 50%, which makes it a lot stronger than most liquors. Most liquors are usually proofed at around 40%. And what that means is that the percent of alcohol in the bottle is 50% compared to the entire volume. The rest is made up of water and other properties.
Oh, really?
That's what it is.
Wow. I wasn't aware of that. That's pretty nice. Hey, so I just showed up today, and in the first 15 minutes, I had about 6 shots. Not shots because I sip them slow, but 6 different samplings of whiskeys. And so I'm pretty black.
My fiance is about to enter.
Carolyn.
Oh no, what am I walking into?
That's usually the response you get when you have all these bottles you have on the table. So to preface this,
Looks fun.
we're doing a YouTube video. We're trying to do it. Yeah, it's pretty fun.
We're gonna become 1,000 millionaires.
1,000 So, to preface this, we're in COVID-19 times. I haven't seen Peter in probably 4 months. We're co-workers. We've been co-workers for about 4 years now. 4.5, actually about to be 5 years.
Wow.
It's pretty incredible. Actually, it's going to be. We're going into our 5th year.
We're going into the 5th year of knowing each other.
Yeah, it's pretty straight. So he's always liked whiskeys. I've always been like, whiskeys are stupid. I enjoy drinking them, but I'm not gonna pay more than $50 for a whiskey.
You were a Four Locos type.
I was not a Four Loko type of guy, but I wasn't trying to pay more than $50 for a bottle of whiskey ever.
And now you're the guy with the whiskey collection.
And now I'm the guy with the whiskey collection. I've gone over the past 4 months and I've bought 17 different bottles of whiskey, varying from Irish, bourbons, different types of bourbons, and also Irish, a couple Irish. And there's a lot of history. There's a lot of resources out there to learn about stuff. These guys are really good. Whiskeytribe, Whiskey Vault, that's the 2 YouTube channels they have. I highly recommend it for anybody who wants to watch it.
I like it.
It's pretty good. What's the next one you got there in that cup?
Oh shit.
I got him drinking out of these espresso glasses to help with the sizing and tasting different ones. What is that one?
We don't have a whiskey glasses. What are they called? What's the real
They're
name?
tasting glasses. It's these weird bulb-looking
Nose
ones.
tasting glasses.
Yeah, these are just your regular standard stubby glasses.
Go with ice. You cheat.
Some call it cheating, some call it diluting. I have some ice here that I was mixing with it earlier. But I put a little bit of ice, take it out so it doesn't dilute the whiskey too much.
I don't remember what you put in here. It may have been Jameson. No.
That's the Jameson.
No, that was Jameson.
That was the Four Roses that you were drinking.
Yeah, you're right.
Excuse me, I haven't been labeling all the samples I've been giving Peter. This is my third one. Peter's on his 8th.
Hey, we're just getting started.
This is the bottle we got today. It's about $25 retail. Evan Williams.
Bottle
single
number?
barrel. Bottle number.
Single barrel.
Single barrel.
Tell me about single barrel.
I get there. Barrel number 403. Barreled on 1/25/12. Bottled on 2/14/20. What that means is that this is an 8-year-old whiskey. What single barrel means is that this particular Evan Williams that we're drinking or got today comes from one barrel. It's poured out from one barrel, and that's the batch. They're all made consistently, but what varies from barrel to barrel might be, where it's positioned in the factory, how the temperatures were in that specific area in the factory, and all of that. So one single barrel on one factory might be different tasting from another factory because of the way the temperature was or the elevation that it was in the factory, whatever be the case. Where my knowledge comes from, so is this show. I've learned a lot from the sommelier of whiskey that it's on the Whiskey Vault. It's pretty good. And then I've been listening to The History of Bourbon. It's an Audible original. It's pretty good read / listen. So yeah.
I have no knowledge of whiskeys. I drink them because I like them. I like the way they taste. I like the way they feel. I like the way they smell. Even though they all smell the same.
Well, they do smell the same by region. You would
By
say.
region.
So you would say
So,
Scotch
yeah,
smell the same.
Scotch smell the same. Bourbon smell the same. And even the different regions in Scotland smell different, but more of the same. Like the Islay.
Yeah.
Islay.
Isla, Islay. People say it differently.
Whoa.
But an important thing to note is the age doesn't really matter as much as how you enjoy drinking your whiskey and what it tastes like. What differentiates and what makes an aged whiskey more expensive, it has to do a lot with marketing, first and foremost. Secondly, it has to do with the availability of that whiskey. If it's 40 years, it was in one barrel for 40 years. Just by the natural process of evaporation, a lot of that whiskey gets evaporated. So what a normal barrel would make 40 bottles per se, this might only make 10. So it makes it a little bit more rare, and it's a collector's item. It just turns into a collector's item after a certain age. So don't get fooled by expensive whiskeys, especially if you're just starting. A lot of those expensive whiskeys don't even taste as good as one that might be a little less age. Ideal ages start anywhere from 10 to, I would say, 15 or so. And why American whiskeys are usually aged a lot less. American whiskeys fall in a different category, but they're aged a lot less than Irish whiskeys. It's just because of our temperature in the United States is way different than Scotland. So that's one of the biggest things. Like, that's why I said Evan Williams is only 8 years old. You'll never see a Scotch whiskey that's 8 years old. Starts at 10, yeah. Unless it's blended. And usually like a Monkey Shoulder, which is a blended Scotch, or a very popular one would be any of the Johnny Walker products. All of those are blended. Those are just multiple different distilleries come together, or one main distillery comes together and buys different flavors they like. Yeah, so that's kind of what makes a blended.
I feel like that would make it more exciting.
It makes it interesting because people it tends to be like whiskey snobs. So like, oh, it's not from a single barrel. It's not from one batch. It gets mixed. It's not the same. But if you think about it, like, someone had to go and mix those quantities perfectly every time to make sure it tastes. And then, like in Black Label, you'll taste a smokiness behind it, and that's because they pick up like an Isla Scotch. I think it's Colila is what it's called that they use in most of their blending. Yeah, so they'll have like different types of Scotch from different regions blended into a black label, and it's complex. You know, yeah. So it's pretty. It depends on what you drink, what you like, for sure. I think black label is decent. I think that it's a little overpriced, but I think everything's overpriced because I'm an accountant.
Right. How about that monkey shoulder? What's blended in there?
I don't know. This monkey shoulder, it has 3 different whiskeys, and that's why it represents 3 different monkeys. That's right. It has 3 different monkeys. It has a pretty cool 3 monkeys on the bottom. It's one of my favorite sipping bottles. It doesn't tell you what the 3 are.
I think that would be a good thing to do with the bottle.
I think that if you say that, it might give anyone an opportunity to try to do their own blending of it. I learned an interesting fact in one of the books. Alcohol never goes bad. Never goes bad, ever. No. And historically, a lot of these whiskeys were used for medicinal purposes, and it helped with disinfecting in a lot of cases. Depending on the proof, a lot of the high proof ones are really good for disinfecting.
Well, I haven't caught COVID-19 since I started drinking heavy.
So I don't know if I would recommend that, but you can try that out. Recommended by Peter.
Dr. Peter.
Alright, so let me see what else I'm going to try right now. Just finished up this. I think it was the Four Roses single barrel, which is one of the first ones we looked at. It was really good. One of my favorite companies that I've looked into so far. It's called Buffalo Trace. It's really good. They're also a sponsor of the Joe Rogan Experience, if you guys like Joe Rogan.
Get out of here.
Yeah, Joe Rogan's sponsored by Buffalo Trace. He drinks Buffalo Trace all the time in his podcasts.
That guy is a man of all trades.
Right now, what we're doing, we're videoing this first video off of my iPhone. We plan on making more videos, hopefully, in the near future, as we plan on opening up, I don't know, more whiskey, a whiskey business maybe.
You never know.
You never know. If we're
I
lucky.
just want to see what the reaction is.
It's gonna be from our crowd for sure.
So it all starts here.
So what I'm gonna do
With
is
a nice haircut.
That's right. He looks fresh, not really. The proofing on this Buffalo Trace
Let me
is
try that out.
45%. You want the Buffalo Trace?
Yeah, give me a little.
Watch this straight. Watch this beautiful pour. Buffalo Trace 45%.
The rye one, right?
No, this isn't rye. This is bourbon. Straight Kentucky straight bourbon.
My bad.
All bourbons have rye in it, but it won't be considered a rye because it's majority. The mash is not made of majority of rye. It's made of other malt. I don't know what other things are, but so what I'm gonna do is I put the ice in and now I'm gonna take it out because I've got the whiskey to a cooler point and a little bit of water. I don't want too much water in it because it proofs it down from 45 to less.
I'm smelling it right now. Smells like a good whiskey.
I smell vanilla and I smell kind of like oak. I do smell the wood, like an old wood flavor. I'm not really a pro with this, but it has changed. I mean, all the flavors change as you drink more whiskeys, and we've been doing a whole bunch of them. So,
And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what it smells like. It really matters what it tastes like.
you know where I think the direction of our show is going to be is to find bottles that are under $50 that are worth the drink so far. And today, after some research, I had asked Peter again to get this Evan Williams single barrel vintage, and it was around what? You said about 25, 28? Highly
24,
recommend.
24.
Evan Williams is a brand that if anybody's into whiskey, they're like, oh, it's not that good. It's one of those cheap brands.
Yeah.
The single barrel is really good. It'd be top budget whiskey. I highly recommend that.
I came up thinking that Evan Williams was like super cheap.
Yeah.
Nasty,
Yeah.
like sharp on the tongue.
Sharp. Yeah.
And now that I'm trying this Evan Williams single barrel, I'm highly impressed.
Yep.
And I'm gonna go get another bottle because I'm gonna have to keep this one here
as a donation to my collection.
Yeah. It was well worth it.
I'm gonna try to add a picture of my complete selection at the end of this video so you guys can check it out. But right now I'm gonna kind of like show you guys what I have on the table right here. It's not my complete collection, but it's what we've been drinking, taking little samples of, and I'll give you like a price point of what I bought them at. This first one here is the Four Roses single barrel. As I said, it's around 50 bucks. Retail in stores, warehouse, NN 4-15. You'll see that with a lot of these single barrels is that it tells you exactly what barrel it comes from. The next one I have is 1792 small batch. It's a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, 46.85% alcohol. Does not have a location number on it, I don't believe.
Oh, don't break the bottle.
Don't break the bottle. Evan Williams, as we previously discussed. And then we got number 403. You're right, not bad. That's right. Got Buffalo Trace. Buffalo Trace is really good. Evan Williams. This I skipped the price point on this. This small batch was around 32 bucks. This Buffalo Trace was around 35, and it's a liter size. The next one I have here is an Old Forester Rye, which is another type of American whiskey. You have American whiskey is one type, but whiskey has different categories within America, which is bourbon, rye, and American whiskeys. And what makes them different is the way that they're put in barrels, what barrels they're put in, and their aging process. This one was about 26 bucks. What else we got here? Blended Scotch, Monkey Shoulder. It was around 30 bucks, 32 bucks for this guy. Good old Jamie. Everyone knows about Jamie. I mean, what I can say about Jamie so far is that it's 40% alcohol, so it's not as strong in the proof as all the others that we've just showed you. But it definitely is smooth. It's classic. It's smooth. It's worth it's worth the price that it's bottled in. It's around 25 bucks.
You want to take it to a party?
Take it to a party.
Look like you're a good person, having a good time.
That's right. And you can mix it if you want it. I wouldn't recommend mixing it, but it's really good. Just so you know, triple distilled. Marketing statement doesn't really. It is the process that it adds some more distilling in it, but it doesn't really do much. This was around 25 bucks. Next one we got here is a Glen Grant. This is age 15 years, first edition. I bought this for 50 bucks at Costco. I learned something when I bought this is that Costco, if they have a bottle, is so much cheaper than anywhere else. This is an Old Plutney. It's another Scotch whiskey. It was around 50 bucks. Pretty good. This one is the Maritime Malt. 40%.
Been going ham.
Yeah.
$50 bottle.
Well, when I started this adventure, I went from 0 to 600 bucks in like 2 months. So I had to like stop for a little while, but
We're gonna get back into it.
we're gonna get back into it. And we look into a lot of rare, more like collector item bottles. So we're gonna see what those, if I can find any this weekend. See if I can buy and maybe resell them. If I do find one, I'll let you guys know.
And the only way for us to, get up, get more content out there, is for you to subscribe. The link
Below.
below.
All right. Well, it was nice chatting with you guys today. We hope to see you in the next video very soon. Later.
Should have a sign off.
Cheers. Cheers to those who wish us well, and for those who don't, I'm gonna drink some whiskey anyway.